Yeah, yeah, that's it. Yeah. You should know that. You should know that. You should know that. Yeah. You got it?
Yeah.
All right.
Did everybody get one of these questionnaires? Yes. Okay, we want to thank a chef for putting these together. If you see any typos, just forgive us. We just want to make sure we had everything ready. He didn't run by his proofreader, but I forgive him. He did a great job. He did, yeah. Wonderful job.
All right. So, Dr. Lou, Uncle Lou, thank you very much for your participation and support. Everybody, that matter of fact, coming out and to the first collective health initiative chief holistic HMO Roundtable. Right? And the idea is that we simply want to present information from a holistic point of view, from various perspectives on how we can begin to eradicate, erase, cure. Yes, cure. I did say cure. You know, some folks don't say you can't cure nothing. But listen, if you know who you are, you know, if there's something that's not right, you can cure that effect. You know, so we need to share information about how we can cure and eradicate certain diseases in the body. And the idea, again, since being a roundtable discussion, is that you're getting perspectives from different points of view. Because each one of us at this table have our own lane, so to say. We particularly deal with issues, the mind, the body, the emotions, the spirit, in our particular way. And as we discuss today, you will get the perspectives from each way we do these things. And today, our topic is going to be springing into spring. The idea is it's springtime, or it will be in a couple of weeks. Most of us will be at the equinox, March 21st, springtime, as well as we also had just a full moon on Thursday, which again, there's a lot of energy going on. Today was also here in the West, they trained us to set out spring forward and fall back, so we need to put the time. So, you know, there's a lot of energy revolving around this time period. You get spring fever, you know, get active, yada, yada, yada. But I don't want to talk too much about spring and spring because I'm getting into part of my presentation. I like to talk about the esoteric teachings, you know, metaphysical things like that. So without belaboring the topic of discussion, because we did get started rather late, over an hour late. There was some scheduling conflicts that went on today. We didn't find out until we actually came here to set up. So with that out the way, you're here, we're here, and we're just going to get right on there. And as we go around, we're going to introduce ourselves and go around, I guess, and talk about, you know, what we do in our particular, you know, efforts to help shed some light on spring into spring. Cool, thank you.
Okay, again, thank all of you for coming. For those of you who do not know me, I'm Darlene Miles Harrison. I'm a holistic healthcare practitioner, and I'm coming from the anatomy and physiology part of it. We chose to deal with the kidneys, right? And but I want you all's participation. Since we're behind in time, I just want to make this fast. Don't want to make it boring, so I'm going to ask you some questions and see how much you know about your kidneys. Okay, is that all right? Okay. Now, your kidneys have a lot of work to do, and I'm not going to try to do a whole lot of asking questions and then I'll write the answers down here. Who can tell me what's the main job of your kidneys by show of hands? Okay. Yes. The filter. Okay. Everybody else?
I was gonna say, is it cleansing, like it cleans your blood or something like that?
Well, yes, you're on the track. It removes waste and extra fluids from your body. And I won't try to, if you don't want to take notes, okay? It removes waste and extra fluids from your body. They also keep your levels of salt and potassium in check, okay? And they also make hormones. They have your blood pressure and make your red blood cells. Let me get a show of hands for what are the size of your kidneys? Do you know the size of your kidneys?
Size of your fist?
Yeah, the size of your fist. Okay. And your kidneys pump. They filter a certain amount of blood every day. Does anybody know how much blood they filter every day? Okay. They filter about 200 points of blood every day. And they sift enough blood to fill a large bathtub.
What?
So we got that much blood in us.
Every day. This is what your kidneys do. Okay. Interesting because I'm learning too. Okay, a lot of this stuff I didn't know, some of it I did, so I'm learning as we go around. Now, you can live with one kidney. We understand that, okay? Some people are actually born with one, and there's the fact that if one is missing, damaged, or removed, your other one can grow larger. It can grow larger and become the size of two kidneys. Okay?
Wow.
Yes. Interesting stuff. And they didn't teach me this in my classes, okay? So it's good to do research.
You're saying one kidney can grow large enough
That's
and
what
it
it
can
takes
take
to
up the
two
same
kidneys.
size.
Yes.
Two of them. Now,
Yeah.
can two of them grow larger? Can two of them grow larger?
Get two of them.
No, I just don't quote me on that. It's something that I have to research. Okay. I don't have that information. Okay. And it is the number one donated organ in the world. If you have a family member or someone who has the history of kidney problems, then sometimes that trait carries down throughout the family. We talk about kidney stones. Okay, they come in all different shapes and sizes, and they can be as small as a grain of sand, or they can be as large as a big pearl. Okay, and sometimes, but it's rarely, it can be as large as a golf ball. Excuse my writing. Okay. Kidney stone comes from the buildup of uric acid deposits. That's about it. Yeah. Uric acid deposit. I'm not an expert, so I'm just clear with and calcium deposit.
That's why I got them paneled up here.
All right.
And together we know everything.
Now, the common causes of kidney disease is what? Anybody know? The common cause of kidney disease. What common maybe? High blood pressure. High blood pressure. And they hurt your small blood vessels in the kidney. Okay? Making it harder for them to do their job. So if you have diabetes, unused blood sugar, you can damage your kidneys. That's why most diabetics end up with kidney problems. Okay? If you go into the bathroom and you're urinating a lot, that's a sign that there's something wrong with your kidneys. Okay? And I'm going to keep going through. I'm going to skip some of this stuff because I'm on the time schedule. Dehydration. What's the sign of dehydration? Now, we had this in our class. But what is one of the signs of dehydration? Does anybody know?
Headache.
Thirst?
Headache.
Headache? Okay. When you're urine is yellow.
Oh, yeah.
That's a sign. It means you're not drinking enough water. Okay, so it behooves you that when you go to the bathroom to take a look at your urine, okay? And sometimes you can't always get a clear color because there are chemicals in your water. So a common thing to do is just pass your urine in a container and just look at it, okay? And you want to see if you have like mucus and stuff in your urine. Those are telltale signs that there are signs of dehydration. Certain painkillers will hurt your kidneys. Too much of anything in your bloodstream can be bad. So those of you who are on prescription meds, I would encourage you to try to wean yourself off of them to more natural remedies because they really can damage your kidneys. Now we understand everything goes to the liver first, but somehow prescription meds has a tendency to really damage the kidneys because they're the filter system. The liver has it has power to regenerate itself, so it can kind of like carry those meds through. But the kidneys are hit the hardest. So I just advise you to drink plenty of water. And if you have any questions or anything, meet me at one of the round tables, and that's my presentation for today. And I'll turn it over to
All right, so thank you and welcome again. I am a chef, and I'm coming from the perspective of a metaphysician and a heart touch therapist. What does that mean? Well, as a metaphysician, most of us are familiar with the term physician. It's synonymous with doctor here in the West. And doctors usually deal with, bringing the balance, dealing with the physical body, our physical environment. Whereas metaphysical deals with going above the physical. Whereas we mostly maybe look at our thoughts and our emotions and how does that affect the physical body, bringing disharmony and disease, or bringing harmony and balance by being aware of our thoughts, being aware of our emotions and things like that, which led me to create the heart touch therapy, which in and of itself is a modality or healing session that actually uses 7 different modalities. And the purpose of it is to actually lighten the heart by manipulating the energy system. And the reason why we want to lighten the heart from a metaphysical perspective, we understand that the heart is a bridge, a gateway to our higher self, our higher consciousness of God within, things like that. And as long as our heart is heavy with emotions, then it's hard for us to see clearly, think clearly, feel, open up to our intuition, and just connect to the divine, to God, to our true self, because our heart is so heavy. So what the heart touch therapy does, like I said, it uses 7 different modalities: aromatherapy, music therapy, meditation, acupressure, massage, body tapping, and Reiki. And each one of these modalities in and of themselves is a session. You can have a session of meditation, a session of aromatherapy. What I've done is I've taken the essence of those modalities, combine them into one session. So again, to help to lighten the heart. And so what I'm going to speak on is for Spring in the Spring. My background is starting with a play on words, because as a metaphysician, we love to play on words. Words have more than one meaning. We intended many planes. So starting with the actual event here, the Collective Health Initiative, which the acronym is CHI. So we're saying the Collective Health Initiative, or CHI, which most of us know is about energy. The energy that permeates everything. It has a masculine form and a feminine form. But together, this chi is what creates and sustains our manifest reality. Everything in the universe, from this water to this body to this table, is sustained by the chi. So we, as the chi, right, look to bring peace, harmony, and balance within our own selves, as well as collectively as a people, as a unit. That's collective health initiative. We're collective. We're going to bring peace, harmony, and balance to our chi, right? And so we're going to spring into spring with this holistic HMO. And as we spring into spring, right, again, the spring equinox is coming up in a couple of weeks. And the spring equinox symbolizes a time when there's equal day and equal night, right? It's perfect balance. right? So also this springtime has a correlation, just like all the seasons have a correlation with our organs. In this particular season, the season of spring, as we're moving into, have a correlation with the organ of the liver. FYI, there's the wintertime, we just came out of, correlates with the kidneys, the summer, the heart, and the fall, the liver, right? And the change of summers and autumn, change of season, autumn, summer, the spring. And each one of our organs, those 5 major organs have a tie-in with our emotions, you know, fear in kidneys, anger in the liver, worry in the spleen, sadness in the heart, grief in the lungs, right? So it's a spring in the spring, you know, the birds is chirping, and, you know, a lot of those who realize that this is the natural new year, you know, first of the year, springtime, right? So we're gonna look at what can we do to use this energy. If the energy of spring is here, the energy of spring has a correlation with the liver, and the liver has a correlation with the anger, with the emotion of anger. What can we do to kind of circumvent that and help our liver out, and in turn helping out our emotions by helping out our anger as we go into the springtime? So I just would like to suggest that we keep that positive mental attitude, as they say, that PMA. We actually just remind ourselves the spring is coming and we're getting ready. Another analogy of the springtime is 6 a.m. because the seasons can be looked at as the springtime is 6 a.m., the summertime is high noon, the fall time is with 6 p.m., and the winter time at 12 midnight. And generally speaking, like in a 24-hour day, when it's the 6 a.m., we just getting up, fresh start. We got, okay, what am I going to do today? We're kind of putting our intentions out there, setting the day. If we haven't done it the night before, which in our solar season, that will be in the winter solstice. But since we are in the spring equinox now, again, what I'm encouraging us to maintain that idea of it's springtime, I just want to maintain that bubbly attitude. Because maintaining that bubbly attitude in of itself will create endorphins in the body that on the physical level will keep us happy. And the more happy we are, the more open we are to again experiencing our higher self, being open to the information that's coming in through our being, the currents that's coming in. We're just more aware. So keeping that happy attitude will help us curtail any anger that may come up or any anger that's already stored in the body, right? And as we're in that place of happiness, we can better deal with situations as they come, right? So the spring in the spring, again, I just want to remind everyone to keep that PMA, the positive attitude, right? And at the same time, if we do find ourselves getting angry, right? And one way that we can tell is we may have angry issues or liver and angry issues is that where do we feel physical pain in the body, right? Because generally speaking, all those emotions that I mentioned, they do have physical symptoms. Okay, that's how the mind-body complex work. Okay, mind, emotion, body complex work. But we think a thought that's not in harmony, is out of disharmony. You know, we may feel a little certain way, but we can breathe. I had that thought. I'm back at peace right now. But if we don't release it through our breath, certain techniques, and keep having the same thought, we'll build up and become dense and calcified and become physical pain within the body. And some of the emotions may drain us about energy, like depression, sadness, we feel tired, don't want to do nothing. Same with worry, we don't think clearly, things like that. But what anger does, anger attacks us mainly in our physical body, in our shoulders, in our neck, in our back. Okay, the tension, the tightness, and generally that's a sign of anger, repressed anger that you haven't released. So, aside from just being happy because you realize it's springtime, all this cold weather is getting behind us. We may have 1 or 2 more days coming. But if we use this weather, right, as a tool, as the springtime as a tool, embrace it, and then if we find ourselves having some kind of pain or getting angry, right, there are a couple of techniques that we can do, right, besides simply breathing, taking a deep breath to release, right, which is one. That simply is breathing in through the nose and breathing out through the mouth, right? Because generally speaking, when we breathe, we're performing either 2 things. We breathe, either we're releasing and letting go, drawing out the mouth, letting go, or we're holding in and building up. And that's generally what we release out of the nose. You know, we tend to retain some of this energy within us as we breathe out of the nose, but still we let some out to let some back in. So we're talking about healing and bringing peace and harmony back to the body. We want to remember that we're feeling any type of anger over the next few weeks, just to let it go, right? And also a acupressure point in the center of our chest, right? And there are many points here. I just want to mention two of them real quick. And one of them here to know about chest is the CD17 conception vessel. And just as you pray, right, you put your hands in the praying position, the knuckles of your thumb, there's an indentation. Press your thumbs there and breathe. Press your thumbs at the indentation, about a good 2 minutes. It's actually deep releasing to help release any anger that's stored in the body. So this is an acupressure point that helps release anger. So just simply by right. Okay. And so as I wind down, because I can go on and on and on, if you want any other tips, suggestions about maybe some points that you can press and just breathe, I have a couple of books here that I use in my studies, and you know, that can actually guide you through points. Because one of the things we want to remember also, especially as a metaphysician, right? It's a dualistic environment that we live in. And speaking from a metaphysical perspective, we have our attention and intention. Now we all know where we're divine beings, we're spiritual, we can connect. It's simply just do things just because we intend to do it, put it out there, boom, it just happened. I just meditated, I visualized it, boom, it just happened, it just did it, whatever it is. But there's also something to be said, we actually add our attention, right? And which is simply just knowing the science behind that. Because when we add the science to what we're doing, together with the creative aspect, which is the right brain, the science is the left brain. The right brain more so with the heart, feeling, intention. The left brain is more so with the mind. Attention, paying attention, detail, sub-brain, analog, know what's going on. We combine those things together, it's a marriage made in heaven. So you have your intention and attention on the same thing, your heart, your mind align, boom, to accomplish that goal. So again, if you're talking about just simply breathing to release your emotions, that's wonderful. But if you also say, if I press here, this has a correlation with my liver, okay? So I can actually stimulate my liver and help go to a deeper sense of relaxation and peace and balance. Then you actually go in there deeper and faster, because your attention and intention. So again, I just want to share that with you. It's spring in the spring. Use your attention and your intention, because we're all here today about health. We want to better get this physical body into balance along with our mental body, because that's our intention. We pick up certain tools from the day from each one of us to get our attention going, so specifics going, then we can't do nothing but succeed in whatever we tend to venture out this day. So I'll leave that with you, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask me now or later on once we're done, and I'll leave that with you.
Thank you.
Anybody have any questions for Shep before we move on at all? We'll have time. Okay. I wanted to talk today about, first of all, thank you for having me here. I want to give thanks to the Creator, the angels that walk with me, and also the ancestors. The mineral kingdom, which I'm feeling everybody's mineral composition right now. A little overwhelmed because y'all energy is thriving. I'm seeing copper and crystals all over the place, and I'm getting excited. I just want to say, first and foremost, I'm here to talk about or add to this conversation, and also acknowledge the Chi Collective being just an awesome opportunity for us to bring our energy together and resonate, creating a space where we can learn from each other, also to just message each other, create a propaganda so that we can definitely tune into the messaging that we hold dear to our own value system. I know a lot of times we have access to newspapers, the news, we looking at magazines, we got family and friends, we got churches, and a lot of people who don't necessarily follow the same guidelines as we like to follow as a wellness family that is tapping into our capacity to heal ourselves. But just having this opportunity to bring ourselves together in a real condensed fashion is so important. I want to talk today about mental health and also about movement. I guess it's two M's. I'm thinking about this kind of. I'm gonna see where we going with this. First of all, for mental health, I'm not going to be. What I want to do is to first and foremost speak about the spirits and the ancestral energy, the legacy and the lineage that's walking with us every single day. They've lived here before. They've been very closely connected to the rhythms of the universe as well as people dynamics, etc. So a lot of times when we find ourselves out of sorts or disoriented, it's important to check in to the experts, people who have been here before, who absolutely understand what it is that we're doing and continue to perpetuate as their descendants. There's a lot of noise pollution going on right now. And as a result of it, we're finding ourselves very exhausted, depressed, angry, not necessarily communicating with each other in a nice, polite, and loving and supportive way. Kind of want to figure out the whole business of connecting back to the heart, which I've done the heart touch therapy, and I'm telling you, I appreciate it because it helped to release some of my old storyboards. I have things that I'm working through. We all need each other. Trust me, we have a valuable village here that is definitely going to answer every single need that we have in this marketplace. There's some messaging that's trying to get our attention and try to pull us away from ourselves and disempower us and create dependency. So in the morning when you get up, it's important to have that check-in, that meditation and check-in, even if it's 7 minutes, that's very important. I tell myself 7 minutes, but of course it feels so good. I'm staying there for a while. I'm like, hey, I get to really be in tune with what I'm doing. And so sitting there daily, a lot of times we have scattered thoughts and things that come to us. I call it like patchwork thoughts or quilting thoughts, because my family is a family of quilters who took different pieces and put them together, and I see how I use that in my training. And so as I get pieces of things, I jot them down after I meditate. The answer to meditating is to just kind of write down outside of your mind space what you come up with, because once you leave it in there, it's gonna be jambalaya time, and it's all gonna be mixed up together, which is fine, but it doesn't necessarily give you focus or rhythm or ritual or something to pay attention to progress with the information. So when you jot it down, you can then, our brains aren't necessarily linear, right? Think in a way that's synergistic. It may be synchronism. You may hear all kinds of things during the day. And when you write it down, you can then go after 21 days of collecting information to start circling stuff and putting it in order. Again, we're talking about time and space. And so I just wanted to offer that. There's a thing called locus of control in mental health. And locus of control pretty much talks about, and of course I'm saying this term because I got it from a mental health realm, but it's not what it's limited to. It's just something that fired interest, to which an individual feels that they have control over the events in their lives. Okay. So if you live in this marketplace and you are always being impacted by the things that are around you, you don't necessarily have a core value base, then you may feel that you are out of control and you don't necessarily have the opportunity to create some of these hacks up that we definitely need to heal ourselves. That tune in check-in time in the morning before you leave at the evening, cap it off. So you say, what was I able to achieve? What do I want to do differently the next day? Da 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 da. So you go to bed and you can rest soundly because you absolutely want to get as much rest as you can. Try not to do too much internet, too much, have yourself a ritual. You might drink tea, you might take a bath, you may say your prayers. There's a lot of different things that you can do. So I want to encourage that. There is a saying that I pulled from a Nigerian writer, and his name is Ben Okri, Okri. Okay. You know him? You're looking like, who is that? Okay. He said something that was like, yeah, I got to check into this. It says, you might want to close your eyes so you can kind of visualize this because it's very pictorial and it's something that can stimulate you. But it says, in the beginning, there was a river. The river became a road, and the road branched out to the whole world. And because the road was once a river, it was always hungry. Okay. So initially, understanding how this space that we're in keeps shape shifting, and also the bodies that we're in are constantly changing because we're dynamic energy and we have an opportunity to change ourselves. We have to go back to our lineage, our legacy, so that we can tap back into just natural rhythms. Rhythms, ritual, order is very important for mental health. There's an African paradigm that we are disconnected from. And so mentally, you can save yourself a whole lot of grief, worry, with the whole list of all these different organs that we have in our bodies. You can save yourself a lot if you understand that. And then there's movement that's associated with these different things. So if you feel congested in the energy that's stored in your body, you can do different movements. Do you still do the yoga class?
Not anymore. For myself, not for.
Okay. So you don't even have to do a full-fledged yoga regimen. It's just understanding if you sit in meditation or still and you notice where the tension is, to allow the body to relax completely. And sometimes you might have to lay down just to kind of make every muscle heavy so you can relax. You may not know you hold tension in your shoulders until you remind yourself to let your shoulders fall back and down. And so we being carbonated people, we pick up a whole lot of energy constantly. Movement is important because you need to be able to clear that energy off of you so that you can have the dynamic energy to do what it is that you want to focus on, not necessarily be busy with a whole lot of mental stuff. So one way, just simply taking your head, shaking that hair out, that's going to help you to relieve entities. You can put some coconut oil on your hands. Just do it as a part of your pamper. I can go on and on, but I want to tell you guys these different things. I'm not sure I have time. So do I have time? Okay, so I just want to do one for each chakra. Okay, for each chakra. So with the crown chakra, which we depend on to communicate with the higher consciousness and also the ancestors and things of that nature, you definitely want to take some aloe, some coconut oil, and just shake that out. Wash your hair as much as possible just to keep that energy off of you. You can, for the brow chakra, it's very simple. These are things, I'm not getting these out of a book. I just know that they work because it's stimulating and moving energy. So if you know that emotions are energy in motion, then you want to give yourself the opportunity to wake your third eye up. Another thing, if you're too open and you're receiving too much, you could close your third eye just by brushing down like that. Okay, you don't want to take all this in, it's too much. Wipe that eye down. That's like closing that third eye for a little while, okay? Then also around, if you're clairaudient and you're hearing things, I'm speaking to natural talents that we have as melanated people. We might not want to say we hear things. It's not like you hearing a voice saying, yo, you wanna, they're not doing that, but you like, suddenly you feel a stimulation around the ears. It could be a negative or a heavy entity. You could just snap sounds to just snap to get rid of that noise around the ears. I even snap over my spirit up here. I snap over that to release anything that's less than what I want to experience, undesirable things. With the throat chakra, just simply rolling that neck around. You gotta have that. You gotta get your balance first. Sometimes I just do it and I'm like, whoa, I can feel that I'm imbalanced. But you want to roll that neck around. Ethiopian folks will do that. Yep. And that's because that's something right there. They're like getting rid of any collection of energy around that area.
Yeah, all the time. I got issues. I'm doing all that you said.
You got tap and stuff. Yeah, okay, all these things we have that we can just quickly bring ourselves back to balance. With the heart, you can do the meridian thing that a chef showed us. Also so I feel like that stimulates. You want to open it, you can clamp your hands behind your back this way. This ring is like, but you can put it behind your back and then just lift up. So you want to lift up and through like that, allowing the weight of your hands to just pull you further out, and then you can just that. I mean, you'll feel it. It'll pop. You'll be like, whoa, that kind of thing. Yeah. Also, African dance. If you want to hit that, that's the heart chakra thing. These things happen for us. So, heart chakra. With the solar plexus, I encourage fire breaths, and it's a rapid, just a pumping of the breath. Just like, and I don't want to clear out because I will get, and I'm not trying to do that on camera. But you put your hand on 3, maybe 4 finger widths above your navel, and that's your fire element in your body. So when you pump that way, you are clean. You actually clear your kidneys. You're also giving yourself that personal power, and you're tuning into your own empowerment. So you want to do that. I'll do that if I'm going to a workshop. If I feel less than, some days I don't feel like I really want to do some stuff, but I pump that to help me get that fire element going. And then with the sacral chakra, any like hip rotation back and forth kind of movement, and you can take it down, you can bring it up. I mean, however you need to do it. Drop it like that. But women store a lot of creative energy. Not only women, but men as well. But if you're thinking like fibroid tumors and things of that nature, that's just stuck energy in the creative space, or the inability to have the opportunity to act out natural talents that shows up in your belly. Okay, and if you know how your intestines go around, you can just massage. That's movement as well. So anything can reconnect you to yourself. And then for Michelle, what was that? You were showing me how to walk one day. I want to do that one for the root chakra.
Oh yeah, in Korean it's called Jungsang walk, which translates to longevity walk. And there's a way that you walk because in the bottom of our feet there are major chakras, just like in the palms of our hand. We send and receive energy. And if we actually not just walk and stand a certain way, we can actually draw the energy in through the earth using the chakras in our feet. And the way that we walk is we simply just go to the ball of our feet and light bounce. And as you walk that light bounce, you actually, kind of stimulating that chakra to open it up. And if you, your pelvis area, there's like a cup, glove. Even if you stand there somewhere, knees slightly bent, you form a glove. And constantly you actually draw the energy in through your feet. And if you walk, a little bounce, head tilted down, spine erect, you actually begin to draw the energy into the soles of your feet, staying connected to the chi, to Mother Earth at all given times.
And that's also for the root chakra.
Also for the root chakra, yes.
Okay, and I'm done. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll be set up in the back for administration.
Thank
Peace, everyone. Can everybody hear me okay? All right. So So my name, if you're not familiar with me, I'm Yuma Bellamy. And
Dr. U.
I'm known by Dr. U. Most people know me as Dr. U. I'm a holistic wellness consultant, also an herbalist. And so my contribution to the spring and into spring topic is going to be talking about how we can use herbs and food nutrition to help us into transitioning into the season. So I want to start out by asking, what is the definition of an herb? Anybody know? Anybody want to give it a shot? Food.
Anything plant.
Anything plant-like?
Plant.
Pretty much. Pretty much. That's a good definition in general. Is that anything that's plant life can be considered an herb. And I start out by saying that because a lot of times we don't consider that when we talk about herbs or when we think about herbs, what an herb is. So if I was to ask somebody, and I often do, if I say, is an apple an herb? Most people would say, no, is an apple an herb? Nah. But is an apple plant life? You know, yeah, it is. And the technical definition of an herb, and the most inclusive one that I like to use, is any plant that has an aromatic or a medicinal quality to it. So if we look at an apple, does an apple have medicinal quality to it? Absolutely. You know, as the old saying goes, an apple keeps the doctor away. You know, so I want to start out with that foundation, because when I say food nutrition and I talk about herbs, some people think it's two separate things, but it's actually hand in hand. So the foods that we eat on a regular basis, that many of us eat on a regular basis, I'm not going to say everybody, but many of us eat on a regular basis, are not necessarily the best things for us. And so because the foods are not the best things for us, how they affect our bodies is they build up waste and build up debris in the different systems of the body. So as Darlene was talking about at the beginning of her presentation, the kidneys, you know, which is responsible for filtration of the blood. Then you also have the liver, as the chef was talking about, which is also responsible for the filtration of the blood. So those two organs of the body take a hit whenever we don't eat the foods that we're supposed to eat, which are our fresh fruits, our fresh vegetables, pretty much anything plant-based, as we just spoke about. Even herbs, in terms of quote-unquote medicinal herbs, many of them are edible. When we look at things like, for those who are familiar with these herbs, red clover, chickweed, dandelion, you know, the things that many people may consider as weeds, but these are actual edible herbs. And many of them have higher nutritional content and higher nutritional values than many of the foods that we buy in the supermarket. So just to look at those things, those are also very cleansing herbs. The ones that I just mentioned, and the herbs that tend to grow in the spring. So everything is correlated. You know, when you look at the things that tend to grow in the spring and tend to flourish in that time frame, tend to have flowers in there. Even some of the herbs that many people call weeds that we may see growing around that we may not recognize, but just look at them. You know, we have things like the dead nettles, the hembit, you know, which has those bright little pink, purple, showy flowers. And you might see them growing out the sidewalk or in people's yards and whatnot. And they're very noticeable. You might have the speedwells, which have like the blue looking flowers to them. You have another herb that's called bittercress. These are all edible herbs. And all of these things, me personally, my preference and discipline in utilizing herbs, I tend to work a lot with herbal tea blends or herbal teas. So utilizing these herbs to make herbal teas, they're helpful for different systems of the body. The clover, the dandelion, the chickweed, all are very, very good herbs for cleansing the liver. You also have the burdock, which is another very, very good herb for cleansing the liver. So one of the things that tends to affect a lot of us in the springtime is seasonal allergies. So how many of you here have seasonal allergies? Raise your hand. Okay. That's good. I'm glad there's not a lot of people in here. But I'm going to talk about it anyway, just for the sake of knowledge, because we all know somebody who suffers badly with seasonal allergies. So where does the seasonal allergies come from? Were people born with them? Most of the time, no. People are not born with seasonal allergies. This is something that develops at some point in someone's life. And why it develops is because of what we just talked about, the buildup inside of our bodies. So seasonal allergies is technically classified in allergy as an autoimmune disease. That means that your body is actually attacking itself. So what that speaks to is that we've all heard the term or the phrase or the saying, you are what you eat. So the physical components of the food that we eat that we're not supposed to eat is actually generating and becoming part of ourselves. So it becomes us. And our immune system is like, nah, you don't belong here. So the immune system begins to get what they call overactive. But it's not that the immune system is just doing what it's supposed to do, and it's targeting something that it perceives as a threat to our health. So how we go about targeting seasonal allergies is to start out by getting rid of that waste, cleansing our blood, and giving our bodies the material that it needs to generate new and healthy blood, new and healthy cells inside of the body. And so, especially the burdock, we know that there's a class of medications or drugs, as I really like to call them, that deal with, they're called antihistamines. Is everybody familiar with that terminology, antihistamine? Everybody know what an antihistamine is or what it does? Yes.
It stops your body from sending, I suppose, the white blood cells to equalize whatever it was that was the poison or whatever your body was attacking.
Yeah, well,
It doesn't let it do the inflammation thing, which is what it does to isolate it to fight it.
Say that again.
It doesn't allow your body to produce the white, I want to say white blood cells or whatever that attacks, whatever that corner or whatever it was attacking. Antihistamine, it means it's not gonna be inflamed or make you swell. That's
the word I was looking for, inflame. Inflammation. Inflammation is a very, very important factor in many of the adverse conditions that people have when it comes to their health and wellness. Histamine is a chemical messenger that your body produces that causes inflammation. And so an antihistamine is basically stopping or hindering that process. It's hindering that message to say, okay, well, we need inflammation to bring about more white blood cells or the immune response that comes about as a result of that. So the downside of that is that you're stopping your body's natural process that it needs to heal. And that's why antihistamine drugs never work on curing allergies, because it's stopping your body's natural response to getting rid of the condition that caused the allergies in the first place. So when we deal with herbs, now there are certain herbs that have an antihistamine effect, and this is why I'm bringing this around full circle. But the herbs that have an antihistamine effect is also cleansing. So it's not just saying, okay, well, I'm going to stop this reaction. It's saying, well, I'm going to slow this reaction down, but I'm also going to work on the actual issue at hand. So that's the difference between taking the herbs as opposed to taking the over-the-counter medications or things like Advair or whatever else may be on the market as an antihistamine drug to deal with the symptoms of allergies. So when we're using herbs like burdock, which is a natural antihistamine herb, you have stinging nettle, the leaves, which is a natural antihistamine herb, and even some of the things that we may not consider that many people see in the supermarkets every day, like the red tea, the rooibos, natural antihistamine herb, green tea, natural antihistamine, echinacea, chamomile. These are all natural antihistamine herbs. So we can utilize these things to not only ameliorate the symptoms, but actually work towards getting in and correcting that condition. And especially when, as Brother Shep was talking about the liver, when you're targeting the liver on top of that, now you have a synergistic effect, meaning that it's going to work greater in conjunction than taking something just to target the histamine effect. So that's what I typically advocate in working towards that. And traditionally, you will see that the different indigenous cultures of the Americas, other regions of the world, always had a ritual of spring cleaning internally. And they would use herbs for those different purposes. They would use things like the sassafras. They would use sarsaparilla. They would use the burdock. They would use the nettle. And these were things that kept them functioning, and at the same time, it doesn't compromise your immune system. So you are prone to getting sick while you're working on suppressing these, or not suppressing, but dealing with the issue at hand. So that's pretty much my presentation in a nutshell. There's a couple things that I want to mention nutritionally as well that you may want to focus on. So with the spring, and we're talking about foods, the type of foods and the type of energy of spring is like a light energy. So we want to work on eating light, not eating so much heavy foods. So that's where your fresh vegetables, your fresh fruit that's in a raw state, things like Brother Kepler here prepares, and the juices and things of that nature really, really come in handy in helping to fortify your system. And also allowing your digestive system, because the liver is one of the key components of the digestive system amidst of hundreds of other things it probably does. But it's a key component in your digestive process and your metabolism and converting energy. So when you're able to lighten the load on the liver by lightening the types of foods and the heaviness of the foods that you eat, then the liver is able to do that regeneration process that Darlene had mentioned earlier, and is able to really say, okay, well, let me get things moving, get all of this waste out, and then the immune system is able to function properly and not have to overcompensate. So we're looking at the nutrients that we're getting from these fresh foods, things like vitamin C, vitamin B complex, especially vitamin B6, which is known and noted for the need to break down proteins inside of the body. And a lot of people have allergic responses because the responses to the immune system tends to target proteins. So when we're looking at the animal-based foods that many of us eat, chicken, I don't care if it's fish, if it's milk, all of those things, they have proteins in them that the immune system says, nah, you don't belong here. And so that vitamin B6, and the B complex in general, because they work better together. But that's one that has noted effects to help to moderate that element.
So would you say that's why some people have like allergies to nuts or like
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. But it's also because the liver is congested,
Mhm.
and it's also the liver and the liver and the intestines kind of work hand in hand too, because again, that's the digestive element. And what that says is that, you know, on a metaphysical sense, just to kind of go over into that element, is dealing with how you are taking your environment, whether it be your physical environment, because everything goes through our digestive system. Even you seeing me right now is going through your digestive system. You ever see somebody you know have some issue with that person, and all of a sudden like you feel it up in here? That's what that is. It's going through your digestive system. So we always want to keep that in mind. So on that metaphysical, because we can't leave that out, and that goes with the herbs too. You know, but from that metaphysical standpoint, we want to make sure that we're doing things that's going to be lightening on our digestive system. So those are some elements that work with that on a nutritional standpoint, as well as vitamin C, which is going to help with the immune system and boosting that.
Are you speaking of actually taking supplements or more raw sources? Like where do you get the complex from if you do a raw source?
Well, B complex, vitamin C, are found primarily in all raw foods. You know, so you might with B complex, because and all the vitamins technically come in a complex, even though it's not put out there like that. But all of the vitamins, I don't care if it's vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin K. Even if you go to a health store and you look in the supplement section and you see vitamin D, you ain't going to just see one kind of vitamin D. You got vitamin D2 and D3, which are the most common ones. So that means that there's multiple uh, uh, substances that, when they're grouped together, they're called a specific vitamin. You know, so the B complex is probably the most notable in that, knowing that there's vitamin B1 and B2 all the way up to, as far as I know, 17. You know, so, but all in all, they work towards digestion, metabolism, nervous system, regenerating new blood cells. You know, very, very important. And they tend to get compromised when we eat a lot of processed foods, in a nutshell. But in general, you may not find all of those vitamins, is what I'm saying, in one particular food. Some things do, like sea vegetables are very good sources of pretty much all of the B complex vitamins. You might find that also in like wheatgrass juice. You know, you might find that in moringa to some degree. You know, it might not have the B12, but most of the other ones will be in there. You know, so there's certain things, yeah, it's going to contain that. But for the most part, you know, it's the variety, the combinations of different foods, and particularly raw food, because when you cook it, it destroys the B vitamins, destroys the vitamin C. You know, so that's why I'm really, really advocating that. You can take supplements, but it's always better to get it from your food, because you get more of a complete and balanced spectrum when you get it from your food as opposed to the supplements. The other thing that you can, that's a really, really good source of B complex vitamins is brewer's yeast, you know, which you can get from your health stores, and you can use that as a food additive as well.
So you said vegetables that start with C, so that would be what, like your cauliflower?
No, I was saying vitamin C.
Oh,
It's
okay,
in
okay.
it's practically in all raw foods, vitamin C.
Okay.
You know, some people just know vitamin C is in orange juice, and that's no,